Oh, hey now, boys and girls. It is December 31st, 2017, the final game of the 2017 calendar year. Hey now, not the way that you would like to see the Sharks finish off the 2017 season, but it is what it is. Thanks for tuning in to Teal Town USA After Dark. Don't forget, subscribe, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, any type of the media platform that you prefer. Help us out. Subscribe. And if you really want to get down, hey, look at how beautiful this Teal Town shirt is. Bring Hockey Back has that for you. So go check them out. Aside from that, I am AJ_Strong on the Twitter machine, AJ Strong in real life. And with me tonight is Eric Landi. 6-0 loss. Not the best game I've ever seen the Sharks play, Landi.
Yeah, I was kind of commenting a little bit before we started. It could be the worst game they've played calendar year. That Tampa Bay game, I mean, certainly is up there for debate, but still, it's completely garbage tonight. And whether or not it was just a stinker they laid, or if it was, or if it really was an outclass, I think it was a little bit of both.
Yeah, I would say that there was definitely something along those lines where it was just, I mean, dude, it was a shit show tonight. I mean, I don't understand how you can say that it was anything other than that. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the guys were just like, hey, New Year's. Well, why can we play this game in Vegas? I mean, I don't even know. I don't know, but I mean, we'll start it off with, the Sharks lost the circle 56-44. Okay, fine. But I'm going to beat on my power play drum. The Stars, they did go 1 for 3 on the power play. The Sharks went 0 for 3 on their power play. So special teams, not a friend for the Sharks tonight. But when you lose 6-0, you're not blaming it on the special teams. The Stars out hit the Sharks tonight. They out blocked them. Giveaways 14-13. But at this point, you're going, oh, good for them, So it was this was just an all-around bad night, and I mean, to prove how bad the night was, Aaron Dell comes in to do the final period of the game, and really didn't look that much better, which I think goes to it really kind of. I mean, Landi, tell me that it didn't just go to prove that how bad the Sharks were tonight. The fact that they put in Dell and it didn't get any better.
I mean, I would even go so far as I think it was both a complete just miss game by the Sharks. They just completely missed the boat here. And I think it was also a little bit of the new NHL style, that the style of speed and skill and physicality versus the Sharks, which are just kind of just slow and puttering around a little bit. I mean, Pavelski looked horrible tonight. Joe Thornton looked horrible tonight. Logan was, you kind of give Logan a little bit of a break. It's his first game back, but still just completely just not there. Burns didn't have a particularly effective night. Dylan didn't look very good. DeMello was horrible. I don't think I've seen a complete system breakdown this bad all year. I mean, heck, even in the Tampa Bay games, they were still in those games through the majority of the night. Tonight, they were nowhere near that game. They deserve not even to be in the same parking lot.
Yeah, you're not lying. I mean, Pitlick, 2 goals. Radulov had 2 points. I mean, it just seemed like Ben had 2 points tonight. Everybody was getting in on the score sheet tonight. And this it was a shit show. I mean, there's really no other way to describe this. Like I'm at that point where I'm just kind of like, so let's talk about the next game. Like, I don't even want to talk about how horrible this game was. And the funny part, of course, is being like, you look at how well the Sharks have done since Couture's been out with his concussion. They've done very well. And then all of a sudden Couture comes back and then they put up this. And you're like, yeah, Couture, can you go back to the IR or something for a couple days, like till the bye or something? I mean, obviously, I'm kidding. And there will be people on the chat that'll go, oh, AJ smoked. I'm kidding. But holy hell. I mean, I don't even know how to break this one down. I mean, all right, honestly.
Well, let's. I mean, we'll take it objectively because I think that's really the only way to kind of start looking at this. The Sharks. I mean, we enter into the game tonight, and right off the bat, the Sharks look sluggish. I mean, they don't have their feet. They are very. They're missing passes at the very beginning of the game. I mean, the shots on goal. This will tell you the entire story of that first period. 17-5. The Dallas in that first 10 minutes just literally just played the Sharks out of the building, and they never came back. I mean,
let me ask you a question, because this is what was driving me a little bit nuts. The Sharks stayed at home, after the game against Calgary on Thursday, and they flew out yesterday. Maybe this is one of those things where they should have flown out like literally the next morning and stayed in Dallas for up until tonight.
Oh, I'll go even one further. They should have flown right after the game, and took a red eye out to Dallas, and you know what? Give them the next day off, and then just, skate and work on your 5-on-5 play, because Randy and Hetty hit it right on the nail at the end of that broadcast. That 5-on-5 play, their even strength play is abysmal this year. It is bad. And, that they were saying, you've got to watch out. That is an indicator of sickness of a team. Right now, this team is sick. I mean, it's sick in as far as, playing 5-on-5 and quite frankly, keeping the goals out of their net 5-on-5.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get crazy because, I mean, they've been, again, like I said, with Couture being out, since Couture's being out, they've actually played good hockey. But yeah, tonight I just don't even know what the hell that was. But I have to preface that where we've seen this happen with some of the best teams in the league, that they'll throw out, this ridiculous donut of a game. And I mean, I'm quite sure that if you go back last year, the year before, when the Penguins won the Stanley Cup, they probably had at least a game or two that was just like this, where it was just horrible. So it's this is not one of those ones where it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, burn the franchise down, trade Thornton tomorrow, trade Pavelski tomorrow. It's not anything like that, but it does make you wonder, like, where, after coming back just 2 nights, a couple nights ago, not 2 nights, 3 nights ago against Calgary, and even in Calgary had a lot to play for when you look at where they're at in the standings with the Sharks. That was a huge game for Calgary. So the fact that the Sharks were able to get that second point in the shootout on a ridiculous Donskoy dangle, that was fantastic. But the Sharks, to me, should have been able to win that in regulation. And then you look at tonight and you just go, if I'm PDB, I'm going, okay, you guys all decided to take the day off, for New Year's. You know what? Go out tonight, whether they're in Dallas or they're already on a plane to Montreal, I don't care. But it was like, you know what? Have all your champagne now, because tomorrow we're going to, we're not fucking around after this. Because after this game, this is a bag skate game to me.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, they clearly did not come prepared tonight for the game. And you know, it's easy for us to come and sit here and say that, but I mean, when you look at that shot differential in the first period, 17 shots to 5, you could only muster 5 shots on goal. It's clearly they were not ready to play. They were not ready to play. And you know, it was kind of interesting too, because I kind of read the pregame scouting report a little bit, and you had Kent Hitchcock saying, "Hey, you know what? The Sharks are a good team. Like they're you know, they're no slouch, and they're kind of a mirror of how we play." And you know what? I mean, the Dallas Stars outsystemed the Sharks tonight, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close.
They did, and you know, and now take into account too, Dallas has played 4 more games, and you know, there's a few people that sit there and go, "Oh, Dallas, you know, they're right in the middle of the pack, whereas San Jose this." No. Dallas literally has 1 more win on the season right now than the Sharks. Dallas is a formidable team, and probably a lot of that has to do with the fact that they got rid of Lettinen and Niemi. But I mean, they're a decent team. You know, I mean, +4 differential, not the greatest when compared to San Jose's +12, but
well, it's +6 now.
Well, yeah, +6. Yeah, so it's just you would have hoped that I don't know. You look at what the Sharks did. You know, that last homestand, Vancouver, LA, Calgary, where it was Vancouver an overtime win, LA a nice 2-0 victory, and Jones getting his 100th NHL win versus his former team. No, we weren't playing Boston. But you look at and then that shootout win with that dirty Donskoy dangle. I mean, you would have thought that the Sharks would have been like, yeah, let's get out on the road, boys. Let's, take this show on the road and show that we're not full of it. And then tonight oh crap. You know what? I've misplaced my swear jar. Tonight was a shit show.
No, it really was. It really was. And outplayed out in every possible facet of the game. I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those games. I think it luckily for them, they lost so convincingly that it probably is one of those ones that's easy to look past, because it was just such an abomination of a game that it's like, hey, you know what? It's a one-off, and maybe that's the way Peter DeBoer will treat it. I don't know. I don't know. That game left a real bad taste in my mouth. I haven't seen a Sharks team outworked like that in a long, long time. I mean, we're talking like Todd McClellan, maybe even Ron Wilson era. I mean, they got run out of the rink.
Yeah, they pretty much did, and there's not even anybody who can sit there and go, oh, well, the refs, maybe it's no. Okay, yeah, Roussel got 10 minutes tonight. You take away Roussel's 10 minutes, it's straight even. It's like 8-8 on the Pims. So you can't even sit there and like try to well, the officials were on the Dallas. No. So it's just the Sharks. I don't even know. Like it was literally like they left everything back in San Jose, and they're like, yeah, sorry guys. Which we actually had our our go-to and our whatever you want to call it. We had it shipped directly to Montreal. We bypassed Dallas. So I don't even know what to say, man.
I think you nailed it on the head, and I think you're right. I think it's time to look past today's game and just kind of look at what's heading up on the schedule, because it is just Sleepy Mofo, good point. Worse than the first year of the Constantine era. No, it wasn't that bad, but I'm talking like within recent let's say the Thornton era.
You're digging into the well with that.
Yeah.
Like Constantine.
Yeah.
23 years ago. Calm down.
Yeah.
The hell are you smoking for New Year's?
Some good shit, apparently, man. Some good shit. I mean, just to put this in perspective, I mean, the Sharks were far and away the best goals against team in the league, and now the Kings are better than them. I mean, they put a 6 spot on their goals against average tonight, and it's just bad. It's just bad when you can't score. When you have a problem scoring, you got to keep the puck out of your net. And if you let 6 goals in, there ain't no way in hell you're even going to be sniffing that game. And that's where the Sharks were tonight. And it just really, you know what? Maybe they got to get that crap out of their system for 2017. You know, the last shitty playing of 2017 and on with the new year, right?
Well, and like I said, again, you go back to the whole thing. It's like, wow, this team was so much better without Couture. I'm kidding. Everybody calm down. But it's still funny to say. But let's see what happens on this roadie that is coming up. You know, it's like I have the schedule right here. You know, they're leaving. I hope they're leaving tonight. Nobody wants to spend New Year's in Dallas. I'd rather spend it in a plane on my way from Dallas to Montreal. But who knows what the Sharks are doing. But Sharks on their way back to the very northeastern corner of the, North America, at Montreal, at Toronto, at Ottawa, and then slowly working their way back at Winnipeg. And then, hey now, getting a nice week off. The Sharks get their bye between at Winnipeg on the 7th to January 13th at home versus Arizona. And for those of you who are watching us who are not aware, some fun facts about the Arizona game on the 13th, in that I was at the game versus Calgary, last home game versus the Sharks. There were some leftover pucks, some autographed mystery pucks. There were some leftover ones, and if you go and look at the Sharks Twitter, they are doing Golden State Warriors pucks on the 13th versus Arizona and the 20th versus Pittsburgh. So if you enjoy the mystery pucks, and if you can look up over my shoulder right now, I do enjoy some mystery pucks. So that's, you know, good time to go get those things. The other thing I need to point out is that we are doing Teal Town USA is doing another watch party, and we're going to do this one. The last one we did at IBU, that was a lot of fun. We had a couple people come out there, and they won some fun stuff. I'm not gonna lie. There's a couple people that are like, really, I'm getting this, and I'm like, yeah, you're getting it because you showed up. So if you'd like a San Jose Sharks chum jersey, I'm trying to think of just come and show up, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that we're giving away. And it is versus Winnipeg, January 7th at noon at Famous Dave's at the plant in San Jose. Famous Dave's Barbecue. So if you like Sharks hockey, if you like barbecue, if you like winning free stuff, by all means, come down, because that's where we're going to be next week. There you go with that. I had to put that out there. So, Montreal, not doing that great, Landi. I mean, they're sub 500, 16-19 record. You have and then Toronto, who is doing well.
First off, before we go through this, I just want to put this out there. Finally, a road trip that makes sense.
No.
It's a good road trip.
No. You can't say that, because you have to look at the first road trip that the Sharks played this season, where it was at New Jersey, at the Islanders, at the Rangers, at Boston, at Buffalo. On a road trip, you hit all 3 New York cities, all within this, and we all know that New Jersey is like a frisbee toss from New Jersey to New York, and then, of course, Boston. No, that was the best road trip that the Sharks have ever had. This one, not the best, might be second.
Yeah, no, I mean, they stay, in Canada, and they go east to west. I mean, that is not a bad deal. So, you know what? Hats off to the schedule makers for this one. Not bad. There's not really too much to bitch about for this upcoming road trip. But yeah, going into Montreal, I mean, that's a game that the Sharks desperately need to win.
You can't bitch about this at all because it's Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, all up there in Eastern Canada. Then you hit Winnipeg on the way back, and there's a day in between. So, I mean, it's like, Tuesday, Montreal, Thursday, Toronto. Then the next night after Toronto is Ottawa on Friday. That makes sense.
Yep.
They're that close to each other. And then you got a day off, and then boom, Sunday at Winnipeg. And then the Sharks get their bye week. And, and then host Arizona. And then they go on another little quickie roadie where it's at Los Angeles to Arizona, which makes total sense.
Yep.
And then up to Colorado, which makes total sense.
Back home.
Back home to Pittsburgh. Anaheim. And then at Anaheim, which makes total sense. So, honestly, the Sharks, they could really do some damage going back east right now on this 4-game roadie. This is because at this point, we've seen it. The Pacific Division, I mean, the Sharks could really do some damage on this because right now, if you look at I think it's the Metropolitan Division where it's like the number 1 seed versus the bottom seed, it's only separated by 11 points. You're talking a couple wins and everything changes. Whereas the Pacific, you're talking the number 1 seed versus the bottom seed is 30 points. Yeah, I mean, that's massive. Arizona, right. Yeah, Arizona is nowhere near. Vancouver is almost 20 points out of first. Edmonton, almost 20 points out of first. Calgary, almost 15 points out of first. So, I mean, this is a road trip where if the Sharks can go like 3-1, not only will it, make things interesting in the Metropolitan, it'll make and the Atlantic, but it'll make things really interesting in the Pacific because we're really going to start to see that separation between the top 3 and the bottom 4.
Yeah, no, and just kind of going over quickly, I mean, Montreal, they have 36 points. They're minus 22 in the differential. I mean, they've given up 122 goals. You look at Toronto. Toronto is holding their own. I mean, they're third place right now in their division, but they've given up 118 goals. Ottawa is even worse. I mean, they're a minus 30 on their differential. They've given up 128 goals. I mean, this is a good time for the Sharks offense to kind of get its butt in gear and score some goals on teams that are kind of, sieves, to be, lack of a better term. They've given up a lot of goals. Even Winnipeg, I mean, has given up 110 goals.
But 110 goals, but they're number 1 in their division.
True. I mean, I think you circle the Winnipeg game and you say, okay, that's going to be the team that's going to be hardest to beat. I mean, Toronto,
which I'm sure is like puck guys, like yeah.
I mean, Toronto,
goddamn infatuation with Winnipeg and Minnesota.
Yeah, Toronto is definitely up there as well. I mean, those two are going to be very, very interesting games. But a 3-1 road trip would definitely put the Sharks back in the driver's seat as far as, second place in the division. I'm going to go out there and say this now. Vegas, I mean, 37 games played, and they have 54 points. I mean, they've played one more game than we have, and they have 8 points, if we would win that game in hand. So, I mean, right now, Vegas is just running away with the Pacific Division, and it's not close. And
it does make you wonder, like, are we going to fall back to earth? Like, I nobody here's the thing I think is so goddamn funny is the fact that if you go back and look at what everybody was saying, and I'm talking about us here. Let's be honest. This is a fun little dog and pony show. We don't know what the hell we're talking about. You look at Wisniewski and all the quote unquote prognosticators that know what the hell they're talking about. Nobody had Vegas leading the Pacific, much less like the West at New Year's. And along with that, nobody had Edmonton being this bad at New Year's. And if you look at, we're talking about the Golden Knights over this next week, between tonight and a week from now, the Sharks are on this interesting 4-game road trip in Eastern Canada that could be very interesting. But the Golden Knights have to host Nashville, who are no slouch, went to the final last year. Then they have to play St. Louis, no slouch, and it's in St. Louis. And then back-to-back, they have to go to Chicago. Granted, Chicago is a bit of a shell of their former self. And then they come back and they, face the not the Islanders, the Rangers. So, they could very easily go 4-0. They could very easily go in 2-2. Conversely, the Kings on the 2nd, they do a little Eastern or a little Western Canada trip where they have to go to Edmonton, who is on the incline right now. They're starting to put it together a little bit. And then they face at Calgary, who, again, a little bit on the incline. And then they get to face Nashville. That's a 3-game trip where the Kings could very easily go 0-3 or 3-0. So by the time the Sharks hit their bye week, things could change very conversely.
Definitely, and I just we just look at it, and I think this is the perfect kind of way to explain, or not explain, but I think this is a great illustration. There we go. That's what I'm looking for, of how a team with balanced scoring, balanced talent throughout its lineup can do really, really well in this league. Whereas we've got those teams that have the very, very top heavy.
Well, or we have teams that have names like Thornton Pavelski on the top line and have like names like Haley and John Scott on the bottom line.
Right, and it just goes to show you, how much damage those teams can do. Edmonton, poster child, you have the best player in the NHL, and you know what? They're not doing great this season. You go over to Chicago, and they're having their issues. Mind you, they've won 3 cups, but when you look at those 3 cups, they had a really, really strong supporting cast. Toronto is doing well because of its balanced skill and balanced, level of players throughout their lineup. Tampa Bay, they're also the poster child for not only having balanced talent throughout their lineup, but having those upper echelon players. Honestly, they've built it out the best. Columbus, another one of those, just have great skill throughout the entire lineup. New Jersey, Washington. We're starting to see that skill across the entire lineup is starting to win out now more over those top heavy teams than it used to be. The old days of Detroit with Steve Yzerman and Lidstrom and just the really, really top heavy.
You're digging back into the days.
I'm just saying that I'm just saying that we've gone from a league where, okay, we had those superstars and they could propel you to championships, where it kind of lulled out into, okay, there's a good mixture of supporting cast and superstar talent. And now we're kind of going into this area of, if you have balanced talent throughout the lineup, you can roll 4 lines and have just 1 or 2 extra game breakers. You can go really far. Really far.
And that brings up what Gen X has. I mean, let's be honest. Gen X has been typing this into the Google chat for like the last 5 years, and we weren't even doing this 5 years ago. This has Gen X saying the top 6 get you in, the bottom 6 get you wins, and he's completely right. I mean, we can go back to oh Jesus Christ, what was that guy from Colorado? Colorado's first Stanley Cup win, and he was it Krupp? No, not Krupp. He had like a really cool name. I can't remember his name, and I'm sure Gen X will put it in the chat in about 5 seconds. But he had an awesome name. But he came with a very pivotal goal. I want to say Krupp. Either way. But he is right that those bottom guys are going to get you the goals. And the thing is that right now it's funny that the Sharks they're playing decent hockey where they've got some key injuries. I mean, Jesus Christ, man, Martin has been out since game 2.
Hayduk, Milan Hayduk?
No, not Hayduk. It was not Vlastimil Krupa. Jesus Christ, he was a Shark. No. Oh, geez. All right, somebody in the chat, do me a favor. Like, go Google.
Billy Niemanen.
No. Somebody Google 1996 Colorado Stanley Cup, roster. He had a really cool name. I just can't remember it right now.
You're talking about first Colorado Avalanche, not
the no. Yeah. Not 2001. No. Uwe Krupp. There you go. North Star 17. You demand, dude. Yeah, Krupp. I didn't I say Krupp or Krupp? I was really close. I was very close. But Krupp had a pivotal goal in that series. So the Sharks right now, maybe this is one of those things where it's I mean, Jesus Christ, aside from like opening night, by the second night they had lost Paul Martin. And since then, have they played a game where they didn't have their opening night roster? No. I mean, dude, and that's what I'm saying. It's like Couture's seen time out. Barclay Goodrow has seen time out. I mean, we've seen some like key guys that, I mean, Jesus Christ, Brendan Dillon missed a game, for being suspended for a game. So, I mean, there's been little things here and there. Hopefully this ends up working well for the Sharks towards the end of the season. And I don't want to get, it's like, because I can see it right now. I'm going to say this, and the entire chat is going to go, oh, AJ's drinking way too much. Somebody cut him off. Somebody sent him to AA. But we have, this is, January is going to be very interesting. Let me pull the paper. Let me pull the schedule down. We've got the 4 games in Eastern Canada. Then we have that home game after a week off, the Sharks bye week. We get to host Arizona. Then we go on a nice, quickie 3-game roadie along the Pacific coast for the most part, LA, Arizona, Colorado. Then we're back home versus hosting Pittsburgh, and then, down south to Anaheim. Then we're back home for 2 home games, Winnipeg and the Rangers. And then the All-Star break. And, the 41st game of the season is that home game versus Arizona. Do you think, Landy, that by that point, with 41 games played, do the Sharks need to do the Sharks need to make some sort of decision, whether they're a now team or a future team, or are they just going to sit there and go, well, we're in 3rd place and we're only like 4 points out of 2nd place, and so we're just going to continue to do the same shit that we do? Or do you think that knowing that at the end of this year, Hurdle's contract is up, Thornton is, signed the 1-year deal, that there's some key, and now that I'm thinking about it, doesn't Hurt or not Burns contract already hit up, right? Or
Yeah, it's Vlasic and Jones that kick in next year.
There you go. So you've got these contracts that kick in next year. So maybe it's like, do you think it's that time where they sit there and go, you know what, for the longest time, our core was, Marlowe and Thornton and blah, blah, blah. Do you think it's just a case of maybe if the Sharks are outside looking in when the trade deadline comes, do they sit there and go, you know what? Okay, well, we've got Burns signed long-term, Vlasic signed long-term, Jones signed long-term. We have our defensive core that we want and our goaltender, and is this the case of, okay, so we extend Hurdle, we extend Tierney, we get rid of Ward, we get rid of Bodker, we get rid of, Hansen, but we say, okay, we want to keep LeBanc and Sorensen and Goodrow and Meyer, but we need other guys. I mean, maybe it's even a case of if the Sharks are on the outside looking in, Pavelski only has one more year on his deal. He's only making $6 million for being a captain of a team. I mean, maybe this is the case of the Sharks sit there and go, you know what? Maybe this is the time that Doug Wilson goes, you know what? It is literally time to draw out the R word and say rebuild. We're going to see what we can get for Thornton, see what we can get for Pavelski, potentially Braun, see what we can get for Dylan or whatever.
Yeah, I think where you're going with this is what is the right approach to this team, and right now I think the Sharks are going to be status quo like they normally are. And I think
no, not the Sharks are going to be status quo. Doug
Wilson is going to be continuing the status quo. I think what we can expect is if there's a hockey deal to be made out there, I think Doug Wilson is exploring that. I also think that he's going to maybe try and move some of those fringe players, whether that be a Hansen or a Bodker or just those assets that.
But who wants to take Hansen or Bodker at this point? I mean, they are literally producing nothing.
Right. And I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, would you, if you could pry a seventh out of somebody for Hansen, sure. Why not? Retain some salary because all he's got is this year left. Maybe you can get somebody some Yahoo GM who thinks, okay, maybe we're a fourth liner away or whatever. But you try and flip something for those guys. Bodker, I mean, if you're not able to get anybody to take the bait on him, I think it's time. I think 2 years is enough of this, and time to just cut bait on the guy and buy him out. I hope
so.
Yeah, I mean, he's consistently been in the doghouse, and it is really time to say, you know what, enough is enough on this.
Well, and Gen X in the chat saying, and replace them with what is in the system. I totally agree with what he's saying. What's in the system, which again will make me, haul it where, God damn it, fetch me my drum, it's not a power play drum. It's the drafting, development, and scouting drum that I want to just coom. And I totally agree with him. We've drafted and developed some decent. Hold on. Let me just say some decent forwards. I mean, Meyer. Now, could you look at the draft that Meyer was taken in and find like 3 or 4 guys that were taken after Meyer that have been performing better? Yes. Welcome to the Sharks. Same thing with the LeBanc, but LeBanc and Meyer are not totally horrible. I mean, they've got a little bit of skills there, but just like Gen X is saying, you've got to be able to build around those guys. And right now, the biggest thing is the Sharks need to figure out a way to replace Thornton. If they want to go after Tavares, fine, but Doug Wilson has an incredible history of overpaying. Yeah, I don't see him to
I don't
now
see
that. Yeah,
New
now
York
that
is settled up, I don't see him getting out of there.
The Islanders are actually going to have a decent place to play in like 5 years, whatever it is, I don't see Tavares leaving that organization. Organization. I don't see Tavares leaving. I think he's going to stay right where he is and enjoy being the face of that franchise. That's fine. But the fact of the matter is that the Sharks, just as Gen X said, dude, like the fucking cupboard is bare.
Right.
Like, the Sharks bare. The Sharks brought up the guys that were worth the shit. Heed, Yoki Ryan, LeBanc, Meyer, to a lesser extent, O'Regan. Like, literally, you had like 5 or 6 guys to bring up. You've brought them up. There is nobody else in the system to cover who's going to leave in a year or two. So, and then with the Sharks right now having $5 million in cap space, who are you going to get with $5 million?
Well, right, and I think that this brings up where going into next year, Doug Wilson's going to have to be really creative. You know what? Get some offer sheets out there. I mean, you've got Noah Hannafin.
Oh my God, dude! Nobody offer sheets. When was the last time you saw an offer sheet between now and when the Sharks offer sheeted fucking the Hammer?
Niemi,
it was
that's
Hammer.
That's how we got Niemi. But
yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're going to have to be creative because, like everybody is saying in the chat, I mean, everybody's completely right. There is nothing of value on, in the minors. There's not a lot of value there. I mean, you've got Rourke Chartier, but he's got some conky issues. Whatever. You got some other couple of B and C level prospects that may or may not pan out. Okay, no big deal. There is no blue chipper coming that is going to be worth anything. Maybe outside of Jeremy Waugh, and he's got knee issues, so there's nothing there. So what are the options then? The options are to be creative, and that's and sorry to say, but I mean, like, that's going to be offer sheets. That's going to be taking some flyers on guys who had bad years, and
but we've seen Doug Wilson pull that shit off a bazillion times.
Right. And I think Jerry brings up a great point. If they're consistently, why are they consistently scratching Heed over DeMello? I mean, DeMello tonight.
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
DeMello tonight was not great. He hasn't been great in the last couple of games.
And wasn't Hansen scratched tonight?
Hansen was scratched as well tonight.
Yeah, why? Hansen performed well the last couple of games. I didn't get that scratch.
So, I think it's going to be a mixture of being creative. It's going to be it's going to be that, and I think it's going to be how the coach is going to integrate the pieces that he has. And right now,
how much influence is Wilson having over PDB?
I don't think a lot right now. I think that there's a little bit of a disconnect. This kind of not reeks of McClellan and Wilson, but it's a little interesting. There are some head scratchers.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's a couple times where I sat there and I looked at what PDB was throwing out there, and I went, I don't think Wilson, I don't know if that's what Dougie wants out there, and I felt like PDB was just like, you know what, fuck you, Doug. I'm putting this out here just to show you. You know what I mean? And yes, I did put Gen X on a 300-second timeout. Deal with it, bitches.
I mean, another guy that you might want to go after in the offseason is Evander Kane, and I don't think he's going to sign until.
Nope. No, you know what? He's a guy that I've heard too much bad shit about him.
I mean, but like I said, though, there's not much that's going to be UFA. No, I mean, no. And there's not some cure all. So it's either you got to be really creative with offer sheeting, which a lot of GMs have shown no appetite to do because they're afraid to piss off each other.
Nobody wants to do offer sheeting. But the thing is, at least Doug Wilson. This is the thing. As much as people bitch and piss and moan about Doug Wilson, you look at like the 3 big trays that he's pulled off, whether it's been Primo, Sturm, and Stewart for Thornton, whether it's been Ty Wissert, Matt Carl, and a pick for Boyle and Lukowich, whether it's been Setaguchi, Charlie Coyle in a pick to get Burns, and I forget who the other guy was. But if you look at all those three like whoppers of trades, if you obviously all of those trades we're able to look at now with 2020 hindsight, the Sharks, Doug Wilson nailed it in every one of those. So it's getting to be about that time. Like Doug Wilson took this team over almost about 20 years ago, where it seems like Doug Wilson is able to pull off one of these gargantuan trades like once every 5 years. And we're almost at the 5-year mark, or we're just beyond it. Whatever it is that Dougie Wilson needs to pull off another one of these gargantuan ones, whether it's like he moves like Thornton and Pavelski, even if it's a double. Either way, it's the fact that Doug Wilson needs to pull off some ridiculous move. Because let's be honest, I mean, Landi, you cannot tell me that you were not blown away with what Doug Wilson got for Douglas Murray and Ryan Clough.
Oh, no. It's just very interesting because the last 2 years, he bled some talent that he could have gotten returns on. Ryan Carpenter. That was a swing and a miss. I mean, he knew that Vegas had interest in him. I mean, from the mock, from I guess not the mock draft, but from the expansion draft onwards, Vegas had shown interest in him. You look at what they lost Matt Nieto for nothing. I mean,
who has had a great season this year so far. Well, I shouldn't say great season, but when you compare him to Mikhail Bodker, Matt Nieto's had a great season so far.
Oh, and right now, I'd rather take Matt Nieto over Mikhail Bodker any day. Because
more goals, more assists, more points. Hello,
and just better work ethic, to be quite honest.
Yeah. So,
I mean, there's been some missteps by Doug lately, and honestly, it's gonna take something interesting to kind of rejuvenate this franchise. But there was something interesting that I did want to ask you, though.
Yeah, because I do want to replace this entire draft defenseman.
Right. I want to ask, do you think it would behoove the Sharks to trade away their first round and get a couple of seconds, or a couple of seconds and a third, because they have had better success in the lower rounds consistently than they have in the higher rounds? Maybe they need to get two seconds or 2 seconds in the third for their first round pick, and try and go for quantity and net that Joe Pavelski or that next really dynamite level defenseman, in that second round, because he's the really grade A defensemen come in the later rounds. They don't come in the first round.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, there's very few defensemen are taken early, whether it's like a Lidstrom or Doughty. You don't see that happen very often. Dude, I think that's a great question, but again, I go back to the fact that I want to, literally take the entire scouting and drafting and development department of the Sharks and take them out into the back parking lot and fucking,
Old Yeller style?
Yeah, a little bit of Old Yeller, because it's just that
except for their pro scout, their European pro scout, which I will say has done a bang up job with Carlson and Donskoy, who came out as free agents literally out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, but again, Carlson, Donskoy, forwards. That's my big thing. I'll sit there and go, and I'll look at William Wren and Petrecki and Doherty and even to a lesser extent, Matt Carl, Ty Wissert. I just remember hearing how amazing Matt Carl was going to be. Hobie Baker Award at University of Denver, and just what a great guy that, this was going to be like the next, this was going to be Sandis Ozelinch at another level. And what happened? They brought him up too soon. I don't blame Matt Carl's lack of success with the Sharks on Matt Carl. I blame it on the Sharks. They brought him up too soon, which if you look at that point, the Sharks had a history of. They brought Mike Rathje up too soon. They brought Jeff Friesen up too soon. There were some key guys that I thought that they brought up too soon. Matt Carl was one of them. But Ty Wissert, again, Ty Wissert, Petrecki, Doherty, William Wren.
Yeah, no, they're just some really swings and misses there.
That's what I'm saying. And so if the Sharks could take whatever their big pick is going to be, because again, I go back to, what Cap Friendly says and where we're at, where it's like the kind of the core of this team. You've looked at what the core of the team has been in the past, and it's been shaped around forwards, where it's been Thornton and Marlowe and Pavelski. It's like always been shaped around the forwards, and it seems now they're shaping it around the back end of the net, where it's like, okay, Jones is going to be there. It's going to be Burns. It's going to be Vlasic, and to a lesser extent could be Braun. So let's see. And let's be honest, Yoki Ryan and Tim Heed are maybe those are two guys that maybe are being brought along a little too early, but they're ringing the bell.
Right. I think they're the right way. I think they're bringing along the right way. And I think even
which
DeMello,
makes the draft could be interesting.
Yeah, even DeMello I think that they have done a lot better of a job with DeMello than they ever did with Mueller. So
oh my God, fucking Mueller. That's another one that just drives me crazy.
Oh, right. But people saying, okay, well, how are you going to get the best defenseman? Is it to tank and then first overall? Sorry, Dave B. Pilot, but you look at first overall defenseman. All I gotta say is Eric Johnson. I mean, and look at how well that's gone. That was not great. It's just, unfortunately, outside of Drew Doughty, right? A top three defenseman, a top three ranked prospect. I mean,
yes,
not a lot,
dude. And if I remember correctly, when Johnny Gaudreau was taken by Calgary, there weren't a lot of people that thought he was, that should be a decent compliment. It didn't end up being, the player that he has shown it to be. He wasn't, well, obviously Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid, obviously, they were anointed as being the nice ones. But when Gaudreau was taken, there was a lot of people like, yeah, he could be okay. It's just he wasn't the anointed one that Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid and Eichel was, that were the way that they were anointed. And so I feel like Calgary got, they got off a little bit good on that.
Yeah, I mean, so, and look at, I mean,
I know, we can sit here
and spin a yarn on that. Yeah. I just quickly, just going through, I mean, Noah Hannafin, he's pretty good, but he was, number 5 overall. I mean, there's just Aaron Ekblad. Okay, that's probably another number 1 overall that's done really well. Him and Doughty, really great high picks. But I mean, like I said, they just don't come around that often.
Exactly.
They don't come around that often.
So let's kind of start wrapping this up here, and let's go around the league. So with scores tonight, last day of hockey in the 2017 year. So we see the Flames are really, that can't be right. Really, is that game still going on? That's crazy. The Flames right now up 3-2 on the Blackhawks with 3.5 left in the third. We'll see how that works out. Kachuk has had 2 goals for the Flames in this one. God, I hope he doesn't get a third one. We move on to the next game. The Golden Knights continue their just ridiculous dominance over all things hockey, beating the Maple Leafs 6-3. And this one, Subban, because the Golden Knights have never met a goaltender that they don't like. Subban gets a win. Anderson gets a loss. But in this one, of course, Patrick Marleau nets his 15th of the season. And then, of course, Austin Matthews gets his 16th and 17th in this game. But still, Golden Knights 6-3 over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Down in Anaheim, or Quackaheim, the Desert Dogs lose this one 5-2. Gibson with the win. Antti Ranta with the, oh my God, Ranta. The guy that everybody thought was going to be, I mean, how much money did this guy get to be the next big goalie? But anyway, after that, Tampa Bay Lightning continuing their dominance over the entire NHL. 5-0 win over the Blue Jackets. I mean, aside from the Lightning potentially winning the Stanley Cup, is Vasilevsky going to not win the Vezina? I think he might. We go over to Edmonton, where the Peg shut out the Jets 5-0. Hella, that's right. If you're in Cali, Hellebuck destroys Talbot in this one. Oh, geez, these shutouts. It's killing me. Detroit beats the Penguins 4-1. Jesus Christ. The Penguins are literally
They're falling apart.
Dude, the Penguins are just self-destructing. They are literally a loss from just being a 500 team at the New Year's break. When was the last time you ever saw that? I mean, are they missing the flower? I don't know, but Malkin is the only one who scores for the Penguins on this game, and it had to be on the power play. Matt Murray takes the loss. Jamie Howard gets the win. Nyquist comes one goal away from a hat trick in this one, but what are you going to do? And then, aside from obviously the shit show that the Sharks put on, we have in Colorado the Avalanche throwing you thought the 6-0 victory from the Stars over the Sharks was bad. This was just as bad. The Avalanche winning 6-1 over the Islanders. Former Shark. No, that can't be right. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. I read it wrong. Anyway, Bernier, former LA King, getting the victory over Halak down in the Isle. Matt Nieto, your Long Beach native friend and mine, getting his 6th goal. Landeskog potting 2 on this one, both of them on the power play. Oh, it was a fun night for hockey, kids. That's what I'm saying. And isn't there some sort of like interesting, I don't know, outdoor game or something tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's a thing called a Winter Classic.
Is that what they call that?
I think that's what they call that thing.
Oh, I hate it when they call that.
Right?
So there's some, there's some, for those of you who are going to be really pissed off that for the most part, nothing is open tomorrow. Well, you know what? Just park your asses on a couch and watch some outdoor hockey because
it's going to be pretty interesting. Pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So, Landi, I don't know about you, but I'm going to sit here and wish you a very, very happy New Year. I think we're about done with this. I think we're about done talking about the shit show that was Sharks hockey tonight. So we will look forward to the beautiful Eastern Canada road trip that the Sharks have on the schedule. Again, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, and Winnipeg. It is the Canadian road trip. Again, for those of you who are watching.
AKA the frigid depths of hell.
Absolutely.
For
those of you who are watching, next Sunday, January 7th, we are having a little bit of a watch party at Famous Dave's, which is located at what's called The Plant, which is a nice, cool little shopping center at off Kirtner and 87. So come on and join us. I mean, we did a watch party earlier this year at IBU. We gave away some prizes, had a good time. Some guys from Teal City Crew joined us. So by all means, boom. Do you like barbecue? Do you like the hockey? Booyah.
Yep.
Down Sunday the 7th versus Winnipeg. Game starts at noon. You might want to get there a little bit before that. And just when you come in, just say, I want to know where the Teal Town USA people are. And they'll go, they're right back there. So, or you'll probably hear me going, yeah, what's up, people? Yeah. You'll probably hear me. So come down to the game next. Landi, are you going to be able to make the drive up or no?
Probably not.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Somebody's got it. Somebody's got to drive this thing back in studio.
That's true. So, we're going to have some, you know what? I don't have the box near me. I would show it to you if I did, but we will have some giveaways.
And I need to go find a box of tissues. I'm rapidly getting my girlfriend's cold.
Oh, there you go. So Teal Town USA watch party versus Winnipeg. It starts at noon next Sunday. I'm sure that they'll probably have, if you're into football, I'm sure they'll have some of the games too. Nobody cares. It's all about San Jose Sharks hockey. So come down and join us at Famous Dave's next Sunday at the plant in San Jose. Go Google it. You'll find it. So other than that, thanks for watching the show. Landi, where can the people find you on, social media and whatnot?
I'm pretty easy to find. Just use my first name and my last name, at Eric Landi on Twitter. I think it's Landi.Eric on Facebook, Instagram, pretty much on any kind of social network. I'm there. Just use my first name and my last name and look for the beard, and yeah, you'll find me.
There you go. I am AJ_Strong on Twitter, on Instagram. I also do what I can to make sure that the at Teal Town USA account keeps on keeping on Twitter and Instagram. So again, come and join us next Sunday, January 7th.
And please subscribe if you haven't already.
Yes, wherever those buttons are. I think it's like over here. It might be over there. Please subscribe. You helped us get over the 2,000 mark on Twitter. But come down and join us on January 7th at Famous Dave's in San Jose. Go Google it. Really good barbecue. We're going to be in this beautiful back room that has a huge TV. And you know what's cool about this?
Giveaways.
There's some giveaways, but what's really cool about this is that one of the Sharks, one of the girls who kind of like helps like give away stuff and everything like that when you're at the game, she also works at Famous Dave. She's helping us out with the whole thing. So
all right.
She'll be there. So there's going to be good giveaways. January 7th versus Winnipeg. The game starts at noon. I'm probably going to be there at like 4 a.m. It happens. But if you want to here's something for you want an autographed puck, I'm going to be giving this away January 7th. So come down. There you go.
Everybody have a great New Year's. Stay safe out there. If you guys are going to drink, please grab an Uber or a Lyft or taxi, whatever. Have a designated driver. But you know what? We just want to see everybody back on the chat and just have just a safe festivities tonight. All right. Go ahead, AJ. Take us home.
If you don't work here, you don't sleep here. You don't sleep with someone that works here or work with someone that sleeps here. It's time to go home. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real teal.
And check out the